The Nazi gold train, the treasure legend that sent treasure hunters digging for 80 years. Local legend says a train loaded with gold, jewels, and looted art vanished into a mountain tunnel in the final days of World War II and never came out the other side. Nazi officials sealed the tunnel behind it. 70 years later, two men claimed they'd found it using ground-penetrating radar. The Polish government sent in excavation crews. What they found wasn't what anyone expected. By early 1945, with Nazi Germany's military collapse becoming increasingly inevitable as Soviet forces advanced rapidly through Poland toward German territory, persistent local legend in the Polish region of Lower Silesia holds that Nazi officials, attempting to evacuate substantial quantities of looted valuables, gold, jewelry, and art, seized throughout the war from occupied territories and, according to some versions of the story, specifically from Jewish victims of the Holocaust, before Soviet forces could seize the region, loaded a heavily armored train with these valuables and attempted to move it toward German territory using an extensive network of tunnels the Nazi regime had constructed throughout the region's mountains during the war, tunnels whose original purpose remains itself a subject of ongoing historical debate, with some researchers suggesting they were intended for underground manufacturing facilities, while others propose more specific connections to secretive Nazi wartime projects. According to the most commonly repeated version of the legend, this specific train, sometimes referred to as the Gold Train, or connected to the broader network of tunnels known locally as riese, meaning giant in Polish, entered one of these mountain tunnels sometime in the war's final months and, for reasons the legend itself has never definitively explained, never emerged from the other side, with some versions suggesting the tunnel entrance was deliberately sealed by retreating German forces, specifically to conceal the train and its valuable cargo from advancing Soviet forces, intending to return and recover it once circumstances allowed, an intention that, if genuinely held, was never actually carried out given Germany's subsequent total defeat and the region's incorporation into post-war Poland. This specific legend persisted in local oral tradition throughout the post-war decades without ever achieving significant broader international attention or serious sustained archaeological investigation. Treated largely as regional folklore rather than a documented historical claim warranting genuine formal investigation. Until 2015, when two treasure hunters, one Polish and one German, formally announced they had used ground-penetrating radar equipment to identify what they described as genuine physical evidence of a buried train specifically matching the legend's description, located near the Polish town of Walbrzych, along a stretch of railway line historically associated with the broader wartime tunnel network. The announcement generated genuinely significant international media attention and public excitement, prompting the Polish government, along with the specific regional authorities responsible for the area where the alleged train had been located, to take the claim seriously enough to authorize formal, though carefully cautious, archaeological and geological investigation, while simultaneously working to manage the sudden, considerable influx of independent treasure hunters and curious visitors. The announcement had attracted to the immediate area, given genuine practical and safety concerns regarding unauthorized excavation attempts in what remained, regardless of any confirmed treasure, a potentially hazardous wartime tunnel system. Poland's National Heritage and Geological authorities conducted extensive formal investigation over the following months, employing considerably more sophisticated ground-penetrating radar and geological survey equipment than the original treasure hunters had used, specifically to independently verify or refute the initial claims before authorizing any potentially costly, resource-intensive excavation effort. This more rigorous independent investigation ultimately failed to confirm the presence of an actual buried train at the specific location the original claimants had identified, with Polish geological authorities concluding the radar anomalies the original treasure hunters had detected and interpreted as evidence of a buried train were more likely explained by natural geological formations or other non-train-related underground features, a conclusion that significantly, though not entirely, deflated the intense public excitement the original 2015 announcement had generated. Despite this considerably more skeptical evidence-based official conclusion, The original claimants and a segment of the broader public following the story maintained that the actual buried train might simply be located at a slightly different, not yet properly investigated position nearby, or that the specific technical limitations of the verification survey may have failed to detect genuine evidence. A train was present at greater depth than the investigation had thoroughly examined. A persistent pattern of continued belief, despite official skeptical conclusions, that historians and researchers studying similar treasure legends note as a genuinely common feature of enduring folklore claims more broadly, where official scientific conclusions rarely fully extinguish popular belief in an underlying legend that has already captured genuine, sustained public imagination and fascination. What makes the broader Riese tunnel complex genuinely, verifiably significant, regardless of the specific unresolved gold train legend, is that the tunnel network itself is entirely real and extensively documented, constructed using forced labor, including concentration camp prisoners, under genuinely brutal, frequently fatal conditions. With historians estimating thousands of forced laborers died during the tunnel's construction, a documented historical atrocity that exists entirely independently of whatever specific treasure legend has subsequently attached itself to the broader tunnel network's genuine wartime history, and one that some historians and Holocaust researchers studying the region have specifically noted risks being overshadowed by the more sensationalized, unconfirmed treasure narrative that has attracted considerably more popular and media attention than the tunnel's actual, well-documented human cost. The specific purpose behind the original tunnel network's construction remains itself a subject of genuine ongoing historical investigation, with the most substantiated theories suggesting the tunnels were intended to house relocated German war industry production facilities, specifically to protect manufacturing capacity from increasingly devastating Allied bombing campaigns targeting German industrial centers. Though the tunnel network's construction remained genuinely incomplete at the time of Germany's surrender, meaning its full intended purpose was never actually realized or definitively documented before the war's conclusion rendered the entire project moot. What makes the Nazi gold train legend endure as a genuinely significant example of unresolved treasure? Folklore isn't necessarily strong evidence supporting the legend's literal accuracy, since the most rigorous, independent scientific investigation conducted specifically to verify the 2015 claims failed to confirm the presence of an actual buried train at the identified location. But the specific combination of factors that have kept the underlying legend genuinely persistent regardless. A documented, verifiably real wartime tunnel network, constructed under genuinely brutal conditions, combined with the broader, well-established historical reality of substantial Nazi looting throughout occupied Europe, creating a foundation of genuine historical plausibility that continues sustaining public fascination with the specific gold train legend, even in the absence of any conclusive physical evidence definitively proving or disproving its literal existence. If stories like this, where a genuinely documented historical atrocity gets overshadowed by an unconfirmed treasure legend built on top of it, are exactly what you come here for, subscribe to The Grave Details, because history holds more stories like this than most people will ever know.